Hi folks, welcome to today's color process video. Today's comic was a tricky one to color due to the nature of the line work. Um, the messy style I used meant that it would have been difficult for me to color the comic my usual way, which would be by selecting empty areas with the wand tool, expanding the pixels a bit, and then filling that space with color. The way this was like the line work was done on this one, because there's so much smudging going on, it would make selecting areas difficult to do. And on top of that, due to the like messy nature of the line work, I don't think my typical style of rendering everything in flats would have worked. So instead, I decided to just double down on that messy style and go for a kind of messy style of coloring. So I used a watercolor style brush in Photoshop, and I intentionally went outside of the lines with it to give the impression of like paint bleeding through the page, or like maybe ink washes bleeding through the panel borders and whatnot. And it worked fairly well, but this is one of those cases where I wonder if maybe just leaving the comic without colors would have worked better. Like this is one of those cases where there is so much line work on the page and smudges and all that, that I'm worried that the colors kind of um, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, I don't know if they quite work for me. Now, this could be one of those cases where, as I said in the typed up process post, that I haven't stepped away from the piece for a long enough time to better appreciate it. It could be that in a few hours' time, a few days' time, who knows, that I'll look back at this comic and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm kind of happy with how this turned out. But I do worry that there isn't really enough contrast going on between the character and the backgrounds. Um, a big reason why I colored the character the way I did, like where I left the backgrounds just entirely almost monochromatic, and whereas the character is fairly colorful, was just to make that character stand out. But even then, I do worry that things look a bit muddled, especially in that first panel where the character is looking out the window. And then I did further little bits of tinkering with the comic to better get that kind of messy effect I was looking to achieve. So, for example, with the character, each panel that character is in, I would select the character's colors and I would expand them slightly and also nudge them to the left a bit, just to better get that kind of haphazard kind of look to the coloring, where like it's like the paints were just slapped down on the page with no real concern about whether they're like inside the lines or not. And then there were little touches I added which wouldn't be in the line work, where I added just some subtle reflections beneath the character, just to better get across the fact that the ground is wet. So that's one little touch that I'm quite happy with. But overall, yeah, it kind of remains to be seen whether I'm happy with this one or not. Um, so yeah, we'll see. But anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you at the next video. Take care.